Texans add players. Jags add players. Titans add players. Colts keep players. We're going to touch on all that. State of the AFC South, you guys. All that and more on this, the No Horsing Around podcast. So we're about a week and a half into the free agency period, and I kind of wanted to do a 50,000-foot view of the AFC South and what we've seen transpire over that time period in regards to free agency. And where do the Colts land in this after you've kind of seen the dust settle and we're into that tail end? We're about a month out from the draft and we're kind of in the shorter term contracts and things like that. So obviously the Jaguars, they add Gabriel Davis, they lose Calvin Ridley. They retain Josh Allen. So, they kind of they added a little bit of power here and there. They're hoping, they retain their coach and Peterson, who's a proven coach. They're hoping to see Trevor Lawrence kind of take that next step. Not as impressed with what they've done during the offseason, but still right there. I mean, they're right there last year. They kind of go on that stretch near the end of the season that costs them essentially the division. Really, that game against a depleted and kind of frankly having given up Tennessee Titans team, and they lose that pretty handily, not even close. Cost them the division, cost them a playoff berth over. So we'll kind of see how that bounces back, right? How do the Colts match up with them? The Colts, outside of the bugaboo that is playing in Jacksonville, I think they match up pretty well with the Jaguars. They've added Gabriel Davis, who y'all know I liked in free agency. He was a realistic free agent that I named for the Colts in general. But they lost, Calvin Ridley, who was a massive thorn in the side of the Colts last year. I put the Colts. I think the Colts are better than the Jags. Can they get over the bugaboo of playing in Jacksonville? I sure hope so. We're going to see this season. You go to next, you go to Houston. And Houston kind of is really a darling in regards to what they've done during the offseason. They add Danico Autry. They add Azeez Al-Shaair. They add Danielle Hunter. They just kept adding talent. They're going to get Tank Dell back. They have Nico Collins, who looks to be a legitimate wide receiver one. They have CJ Stroud, who, unlike any other rookie quarterback or second-year quarterback in the division, you know exactly what you have with him. He played the entire season, played really well, won the division, won a playoff game. Won Offensive Rookie of the Year. You know what you have in him. I think it's unquestioned what you have in him. You have D'Amico Ryan, who very well could have been Coach of the Year. I think had he – I don't know. I mean, he was right up there. I don't know what he could have done else to kind of get that. So, I mean, they just keep adding to an already strong team that was very strong last year. Where did the Colts match up with them? They went 1-1 with them last season, taking the one win in Houston with Anthony Richards playing, losing the win or go home game in week 18 with Gardner Minshew. How does Anthony Richardson coming back match up for them? I mean, in my opinion, Houston obviously is kind of the one in regards to the AFC South. They're the team I think everyone's going to be chasing this season. I think they're going to be very good again. That's going to be very interesting to see. And then as far as the Tennessee Titans go, right? The Titans, they kind of went and decided we're going to spend some money, right? They drop about $100 million on Calvin Ridley. They go out, they pull the massive trade for L'Jarius Sneed, which I think is salt in the wound a little bit for Colts fans, right? Like you thought we were going to get him. Then you kind of settled and you were like, I don't think it's going to happen. And then it happens, and it happens to a division rival. And to be frank, it happens to a division rival that runs their freaking mouth a lot when it comes to the Colts. Like it's kind of like the Colts are sitting in their brain all the time, so they just run their mouth a ton about the Colts. But they add those ones. They add Cushionberry at center. I think is a really good pickup. Um, they still have holes. Don't get me wrong. They still have plenty of holes. You know, they have the holes at linebacker, hole at D line outside of Simmons. They have holes at tight end. I think their tight end is hot garbage and Chigakonkwo, right? They go out, they get Tony Pollard. Is he a good replacement for Derrick Henry? That's going to be interesting. They lost Derrick Henry. They lost to Nico Autry. They lost a lot of players too, but they brought in several. I mean, you look at the over under for the division, right? Like when you're talking about the Titans, they're over under on DraftKings, I believe, right now. It's 5.5 wins. I might go the over, go to maybe 6, but I still think they have a lot of holes. And everyone knows, and this gets me in trouble sometimes. Like I like Will Levis. Yes, he was the quarterback I wanted the Colts to draft in the draft last year. But I'm gonna tell you, scoot in real close, right? It is okay to like a player coming out of the draft, and then through seeing how he does in the NFL, you can still like him, but it doesn't mean I'm going to cheer for him. Yeah, you can pull up old thumbnails, you can pull up old videos and old tweets saying that I like him. He's on the Titans, therefore I don't root for him anymore. And I do root for Anthony Richardson because he is my quarterback, right? So with the Titans and their 5.5 win total for going into next year, it all is contingent on Will Levis. I've said repeatedly that I honestly think this is the year that they decide on what they're going to do with him. You got a new coach who didn't ask for him. If they bottom out this year and they're picking high next year, I think they could be taking a quarterback and looking to replace him. They've tried to remove any excuse for him. So we're going to see how he does. As far as how the Colts match up for him, to him, Colts swept them last year. Colts, I'm not going to call like a sweep, but I mean, most of the time it's a split. You look back on, unless it was Andrew Luck in his heyday of just constantly sweeping, or Tannehill and Henry over those couple year stretch, they always split games. I think the AFC South is going to be really competitive. I think it's going to be much more elevated than it has been in years past. I think any team could realistically probably come out of this, except for the Titans. I think that they're going to be the bottom. I think they're still a little bit of ways. They still don't have a left tackle. I know they might take Joe Alt. They still don't have a right tackle. They have an underperforming left guard in Skoronski. I don't see it for them this year, but I think the overall talent level in the AFC South has gone up a tick. But as far as I sit here right now, I put it Texans 1, Colts 2, Jags 3, Titans 4. That's where I sit. That's where I sit in this point. The Colts, well, let's go Colts. Let's go Colts 3. Jags 2. Okay. The Colts, I think, can take that jump up if they make a couple of small moves, bring in a veteran corner, maybe re-sign Julian Blackmon. I know everyone talks about Justin Simmons, but I just feel like that's probably more of a pipe dream at this point. I think you're looking at re-signing a Julian Blackmon, go out and get a veteran corner, maybe like a Xavier Howard, someone to fill the gap. Maybe then you draft a corner, maybe in the second round or the first round, depending on who's available. You do those couple things, I think they can take that next jump. But that's how I see things. How do you see it? I want to hear from you guys. I want you guys to drop it in the comments. You tell me, what is your state of the AFC South? As always, you guys, please like, share, subscribe, comment, all those great things. And as always, you guys, I love you. I know Zach loves you. I'm out.